Welcome to the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. In general, Rolex is one of the most well-known luxury watch companies in the world. As a result, there is a huge demand for Rolex watches even in the second-hand market. Naturally, not all Rolex watches are created equal, and as a result, not all watches maintain their worth in the same manner. If you are looking to buy a Rolex watch that appreciates significantly over time, not all of them can be deemed investment pieces. If you want your watch to retain its worth, one of the greatest watch brands to purchase is Rolex. When it comes to Rolex watch prices, the previous year has been interesting. After the first quarter of 2022, several reference prices started to decline. After a time of constant hype, some people referred to it as price correction. Some believed that this would cause Rolex prices to gradually normalize. After all, some Rolex watches still cost 2 or 3 times as much as they did at retail. Although prices may have decreased, we have still not returned to retail levels. Reduced costs also make it unclear whether investing in a Rolex would still be profitable. Making significant money with watches is typically a waiting game. Additionally, there are absolutely no certainties given the state of the market. In today's video brought to you by The Luxury World, we will provide you with the 5 Rolex watch models that could potentially go up in price over time. This means that these watches have the potential to become a good investment for a longer period. When it comes to achieving a significant return on your investment, there are no shortcuts. The watches on this list are those that are certainly more reasonably priced right nowadays than they will be in a year. Some of them may come as a surprise, while others are obvious selections. Let's get started and make some educated guesses on these Rolex purchases. Rolex GMT Master 2 Reference 16710. A year ago, our focus was on a potential benefit investment represented by the renowned Rolex GMT Master Reference 1675. Over the past year, prices for this reference have received more praise than before. Extraordinary, particularly in the last few years, so it's still a good choice. And we will begin this new list with the updated version of this vintage timepiece, the GMT Master 2 Rolex Reference 16710. The final batch was produced from 1989 until 2007. A prior comparison using an aluminum bezel and the 2007 launch of the steel Reference 116710 was in a monochrome black bezel. Considering the lengthy production run, several variations of the watch were manufactured, including models with bezels for Pepsi and Coke, as well as a fully black bezel variation in addition to the collection. Up until 1997, the first models used tritium lume, then transitioned to luminova from about 1997 to 1999, and hyperluminescent since 2000. Rolex incorporated its in-house caliber 3185 into the watch. Rolex was able to slim down the case compared to earlier editions. Some of the final models from 2007 include the upgraded caliber 3186. If you want a GMT Master, this is a wonderful choice, especially if you are searching for those vintage timepieces. There was a GMT Master style available before the takeover of the ceramic bezel. Any of the Reference 16710 models would be an excellent option. But if you can find one of the early models with tritium lume, you will have a great future classic. Although the Pepsi bezel versions are not significantly more expensive, the Coke bezel variations are marginally more inexpensive. Prices for the watch start at somewhat more than 10,000 euros, making it a fantastic choice. Rolex Submariner Reference 16610. If you think about what you get for your money and its exceptional potential to develop in value, it's simple to include it again here. The stunning Rolex Submariner Reference 16610. Particularly when compared to contemporary submariners with ceramic bezels, the Reference 16610 is a deal. The current Submariner Reference 126610 retails for about 14,000 euros, while the larger Reference 116610 from the previous generation costs between 11,000 euros and 12,000 euros. Starting at approximately 8,500 euros, the Rolex Submariner Reference 16610 is substantially more affordable. How does this watch make a fantastic choice? From 1988 to 2010, the Submariner Reference 16610 was in production. Rolex made several minor improvements during the last 20 years. The transition from tritium lume to luminova and subsequently superluminova in the late 1990s was one of the most significant. If you look at the tritium models, which are easily recognized by the Swiss T25 on their dials if you want a vintage style watch, the ones with superluminova display Swiss made, whereas models with luminova merely display Swiss. In addition, the cost of a Submariner reference 16610 ranges from approximately 8,500 euros to 14,000 euros. These days, it's difficult to find a Rolex for less than 10,000 euros, so this model is ideal for thrifty shoppers. Rolex Datejust reference 16234. We are continuing with the budget-friendly timepieces and switching to the Rolex Datejust. For many, the Datejust is a terrific watch for practically any occasion as well as an affordable entry point into the world of Rolex. The Datejust is appropriate for both casual and formal settings. In 1988, the Datejust reference 16234 was released. This Datejust release was a development for the model because it included a sapphire crystal while retaining its vintage appearance. The exquisite appearance of the Datejust was completely altered in later iterations by the addition of beefier lugs. In contrast to the reference 16220 of the same generation, which is an engine-turned stainless steel bezel, the reference 16234 has a 36mm stainless steel case with a fluted white gold bezel. Both options are excellent choices for daily wear. A Datejust reference 16234 can cost anywhere between 4,500 euros and 8,500 euros, depending on the dial's rarity and condition. All of them provide you with a timepiece with a retro aesthetic and the contemporary conveniences of the 3135 calibers and the sapphire crystal. This is a fantastic option that will undoubtedly gain popularity over time. Rolex Explorer 2 reference 16570. The Rolex Explorer 2 reference 16570 was also included in a previous list of timepieces that might be appreciated. What surprises me the most is that this particular model is mostly sold in Japan, where prices start at about 6,500 euros. We don't frequently see that price for many Rolex sports version. Therefore, if you intend to wear the watch and wait to see if its value rises over time, this can be a terrific choice. It was debuted in 1989 as the successor of the reference 16550 and came with some considerable upgrades compared to its predecessor. This will be the case that has a bigger chance to have great value over time. The renowned caliber 3185, a significant technological advance, powers the reference 16570. Rolex changed the Explorer 2 to caliber 3186 for the final run of units, which included a few small differences from the earlier model. Before the new, larger Explorer 2 reference 216570 was introduced in 2011, Rolex produced the Explorer 2 reference 16570 for a total of 22 years. This watch came with either a white polar dial or a black dial. Rolex changed the white gold hour markers outlines around this model to black ones, which stand out against the white background. Over the years, Rolex upgraded the lume of the reference 16570 from tritium to luminova to superluminova. The starting price for a reference 16570 watch without a box and paperwork is approximately 6,500 euros to 7,500 euros. Depending on the condition, a whole set will cost you between 8,000 euros and 11,000 euros. This is a fantastic offer when compared to the costs of more recent Explorer 2 versions. Rolex Explorer 2 reference 1655. Another Rolex Explorer 2, namely the first version of the model, comes in last on our list. The watch falsely bears the moniker Steve McQueen, even though the legendary actor was never photographed wearing it. In any event, it's a fantastic timepiece that merits all the attention it receives. The timepiece represented Rolex's advancement in the Explorer watch series. The reference 1655 was created with speleologists and other cave explorers in mind when it was first released in 1971. The watch's unique design deviated from the standard Explorer by including a 24-hour bezel and an additional hand to display the time on a 24-hour scale. That particular feature was developed for explorers who, after spending a lot of time down in dark caverns, might not be able to tell the difference between day and night. This hand conveniently also has a GMT function to denote a second time zone. This watch has a distinctive face that is perhaps not always simple to see, and it's a 40mm watch with a GMT bezel, regular 60-minute scale with larger markers every 5 minutes, extra large markers at 6, 9, and 12 o'clock, and the date window at 3. There is an additional track outside the minute track that displays the black bezel designated odd-numbered hours on the scale. Up until 1988, when the reference 16550, which debuted the current Explorer 2 design, superseded the reference 1655 that was in production. The reference 1655, however, is still a favorite among Rolex enthusiasts. Prices for one range from 20,000 euros to 25,000 euros and 45,000 euros to 50,000 euros for one with its original box and papers, which is significantly less than those of some of the other classics. Realizing that certain historical icons fetch prices substantially more than this. This sums up our list of Rolex models that could turn out to be a great investment for 2023. What are your thoughts about it? We would like to see your answers and opinions in the comment section. If you liked this video, we will be glad if you let us know that too. Don't forget to follow us and give us a thumbs up. Once again, this is The Luxury World, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next videos.